Most organizations today, or the way I see it, are obsessed with the customer experience. They are so obsessed with that experience that they ignore the primary factor in creating the experience, which is your employees. Few employers treat their employees as though this were true. Your employees are your brand, and if your brand is a promise, your employees are responsible for fulfilling or delivering on that promise. They're the face of your brand, they're the face of your business to the customer. Many companies sprint right past that employee experience, however, the EX, on their way to building a customer experience, or the CX. And this simply doesn't work. The customer experience is a direct result of the engagement and the behaviors of your employees. Last fall, I walked into a supermarket bakery that was known for its pastries, and I had my mouth set on a fresh apple fritter. So as I stood at the counter, I overheard a supervisor chiding the teenage counter worker in the back room. Others that were nearby also heard the berating, so I rang the counter bell, and the young girl came out, and the first words out of her mouth were, "What do you need?" They weren't welcome. "How are you today? Would you like a free sample?" In fact, she didn't even have the courtesy to look me in the eye. So my first thought was to walk away from the bakery. But as I thought about it, I realized it wasn't the fault of this poor teen that was in front of me at the counter. My customer experience was a direct result of her employee experience.
Instead of wasting time measuring and sending out surveys to your customers and all of that obsession that most companies have about their CX, they should take that energy and those resources and they should invest them in their employee experience. When the employee experience is working correctly, your customers are going to have a great experience, and those Amazon reviews are going to skyrocket. As a boy, I loved planes. I'd have posters on my wall. Grew up near Hill Air Force Base in Ogden, Utah. One of my favorite planes of all time is the F-15. The F-15 has over 100 victories and no losses in combat. And many will say, wow, why don't we build more F-15s, right? Why do we spend money on new and improved planes if we've got a plane that's that successful? The secret to the F-15's success, however, isn't anything in that plane or even in the pilot's training. The secret comes from an old Boeing 707 in which they took a radar disc and bolted it to the top of the plane. And that plane they now call the E3 Sentry, and that plane flies in the combat zone and provides radar coverage for the pilots. They know where their enemy is as a result of the E3. And I think the E3 is like your employee experience. Your talent, they're like jet fighters. They're doing really cool things going a million miles an hour. But without the right employee experience, they don't know where to go. The employee experience takes the time to align them with the mission and values and culture of that organization. So really, your employee experience is like that E3 Sentry, flying guard and helping guide the pilots to victory.